Hi, folks. We're back for another segment of Why I Hate Enter the Dragon. This time focusing on the particular fighting styles of Roper, Williams, and Lee. I just covered the segment on Roper and found out some surprising things about his fighting style, and I'm trying to be objective with all of these, not to let my personal feelings for a particular character come into play, but to really objectively analyze what they show us on the screen, sometimes with surprising results. So now we're up to Williams's character. Keep in mind that just like Roper, this man is a Vietnam vet. He's seen combat, he knows the reality of combat, and he knows what it takes to survive an encounter. And you see flashes of that come out in his fighting style as well as it did in his buddy Roper. The movie starts out with Williams on his way to Hong Kong to attend a tournament. He gets accosted by two police officers, crooked cops. This is an event back in the 70s and also still occurs today, sadly, where crooked cops just love harassing African American men. So the film, in doing that, does make a statement about that. But notice how when Williams first encounters these police officers, he looks at them and he doesn't say a word. And I would have to say, as a fighter, he knows there's going to be some type of physical confrontation. And he's getting himself ready. He's gathering his energy. He's focusing in. He's not letting his emotions about the audacity and the injustice of the situation cloud his mind and distract him. He's focusing on what happens next. Because realistically, these guys, they both have guns. They can shoot him right there in that alley and no one would ever know. They have nightsticks, but they also have guns. Now, excuse me, I may be reading into all of this, being African American myself, but I think that's, those concerns are legitimate possibilities. And so now we know that he's focused as a fighter on a task. So, of course, the guy calls him a racist name, Jig, which is an abbreviation of Jigaboo, in case you don't know that. And they're determined to not only, take his ticket, but the guy says right off the bat, he's not going to Hawaii. So they want to detain him. Then the guy has his nightstick out, which I keep saying Kelly, Williams chops in half. Officer makes a move. Williams dispatches him within seconds, and throws him, which shows me that Williams, he's got some skills. He's got some legitimate self-defense skills. This is not a tournament, this time. And he makes quick work of both officers. Now, he does a foolish thing, in my opinion, of taking the police car. But I guess you could say that's a self-defense move, too. I've got to get out of Dodge. I got to minimize the chances that these guys are going to pursue me. Maybe at that time in the 70s, I don't know. Maybe the only radio they had was in the vehicle. And the quickest way to eliminate that is to just take the whole car. So it does show that he has a strategist mindset like his Vietnam buddy Roper, but that's like a lot of speculation on my part. Okay, so the next fight he has is with what's his name, Parsons. And I see a couple of things in that fight. I see, first of all, that Williams has a flamboyant fighting style. He knows his skills. He's got excellent body control, and you see that when he's doing this like little retreat step as Parson attacks, and he does a picture perfect spinning back kick, just like a ballerina. He does it, with ease, and even recovers from that. I also see when dog always does this when I'm filming. I also see that as he's backing up, he's making these noises, which are very Bruce Lee-esque, but a signature sound to him. Jim Kelly, I mean now. Ooh, 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 ooh. Everybody makes fun of that. But you see him doing that in other movies, and I believe I saw a tournament where he's doing that also. So this is not something he just got from Bruce Lee and wants to imitate. That's him. And again, his style is flamboyant, okay? And athletic. You can definitely see that in the fight with Parsons. And he also does something that defies, in my opinion, a criticism or an observation that Han had about him when he talks with him in the office. Han says, your style is unorthodox, and of course, effective. I'll admit it's unorthodox, but effective, which is, again, when he says that, it means that you use as a fighter what is particular to make your system work. Yeah, it's unorthodox, but effective, because there's no one way to do this thing. I'm sorry, folks. I'm too far in the video to stop. Shut up! Okay, sorry about that. So, he does this thing where Parsons is coming in with all of these attacks, and he does a takedown on him, stands over him, and lets him go for another round, lets him get up. He could have finished him there, because as we've seen in the tournament, you're allowed to kick to the groin, you're allowed to kick a man in the face when he's down. It's an all, no-holds-barred tournament, but Jim lets him go. So it does show he has a sense of fair play. He doesn't want to he doesn't want to win the fight when you're on the ground. He wants you standing up on your feet. But it also shows something that Han is wrong about. He said, it's not the art, but the combat that you enjoy. No, I think he does enjoy the art, because as far as martial arts skill is concerned, that was a very strategic martial arts move of getting him down like that. That's no easy thing to do. If you've ever done any tournament fighting like I have, it's not easy. So it shows that he does know the art. But then again, he probably just appreciates the winning a little more. Okay, so that's that fight. Second thing. Oh, also, Jim has a remarkable ability to throw kicks in tight places. He's very close, to Archer, and I noticed that he loves to do that spinning back kick or that high side kick. He loves to do that. And he also has his version of that Bruce Lee side kick to the body. Not to mention that he employs broken rhythm in his fighting style. You can see he employs footwork. And being a big guy, he doesn't really have to do that. So why does he do it? He does it, I think, because he likes to do it. He uses the footwork to get his range, to throw body shots, head shots, to do counters very easily. And we all know the rule of fighting. If you're a short fighter, you must come in. If you're a tall fighter, you have to maintain your range so you can hit the shorter opponent, and he can't hit you. And Williams does that beautifully. So we see also that he's a strategic fighter. He knows his strengths as a fighter. He knows the art. He has a sense of fair play, but he also has the one thing that you definitely need as a fighter. He's a good finisher. He has a killer instinct, because when he takes out Archer finally, he takes him out with this elbow. I mean, it seemed like that elbow to the face That's his knockout technique. That's his signature technique, because he not only uses that, on the fight with Archer, but he also, I keep saying Archer. Sorry, Parsons. I don't know why. I guess Archer is, oh my God. Archer's a series that's on Cartoon Network. That was what is in my mind. Archer. No, no. Parsons. Parsons. I don't want letters. I don't want comments. It's Parsons. So he uses that technique on Parsons, but he also uses it when he's fighting Han's guards. So let's get to that. Han calls him in the office. He interrogates him about, why were you outside? He says, I'm not the only one outside. Han demands to know who else was there. Kelly says, you can't boss me around. You're not the boss of me. I'm getting off this island. Han says, that's impossible. He says, bullshit, Mr. Handman. Let me point out, though, when he says that, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. That was just too much disrespect for Han to take. I think Han was going to take him out anyway, but that, just kind of sealed it, I think. Anyway, that's just my little pet peeve on that. So these henchmen come in, and what's very interesting is this. There are 5 henchmen who come in, and I counted this. Within 10 seconds, he takes out 5 guys. 10 seconds. That shows me that as a fighter, there's a time to be flamboyant, and there's a time when you mean business. Every technique he threw hit those guys. Every one. And they were powerful techniques. One even knocked this guy out a window or a glass door or whatever it was. And he ends the fight with that signature elbow. Like I said, that's his knockout technique. So the fight with Han starts. And right away we see Kelly, he's on the attack, which shows that as a fighter, he knows that the initial move is the most important move. If you can get off your shot first against an opponent, you'll get him off balance, you'll cause him pain, and you'll probably win the fight. Say what you want about these cowboy movies where they're hitting each other back and forth and they're taking the shots. You can only take so many shots. You've seen UFC. Usually the guy who gets off first is usually the winner, or at least he gains momentum for that round. And Williams is counting on that. I think he might have been a little overconfident that Han is smaller than he is. He's a little Chinese man. What's he going to do? I'm 6'3". So he throws this roundhouse kick, and it hits solid metal. He doesn't know that, but Jim Kelly also does this beautiful counter move, which misses, I gotta admit, but it was a beautiful move. Off the roundhouse kick, off of Payne, he spins and attempts to do a heel kick, spinning heel kick, with the same leg, I believe. It takes a lot of skill to do that. Go try it. You've got to have coordination. You got to have spatial awareness, and you have to have control to sight the target. Not to mention that you're fighting pain. Now, I think, this is in my creative mind, that Williams, when he threw that kick, he might have maybe cracked or broken his shin, because it's hitting solid metal with a lot of force. Jim loses the fight because Han is fighting in his office. He's fighting in familiar territory, and he's got all those ridiculous bird cages all over the place, and so that's aiding and abetting him, in winning. When you're fighting, even Musashi talked about this, you have to consider your surroundings, because they can be used to your advantage, and your opponent's disadvantage. And I have to believe that this is why Han wanted the fight to occur there in the office. Okay, so this this is when things just start going downhill for Williams. But I think we have effectively, what's the word? Analyzed his fighting style. He's flamboyant. He's laser focused. Okay, like a Vietnam vet, he knows how to pick his shots. He knows what weapons work best for him. And he has that killer finishing instinct. One other thing that I noticed that he has, and you see this tragically when he's trying to defend himself, he doesn't give up. He always thinks he has another chance. He thinks he has another chance to win. He thinks he has another chance to defend himself. And that's what he's trying to do the whole time, where he keeps getting up. And that's an admirable quality for a fighter. Every true fighter wants to be taken out on his shield. And that's probably something he undoubtedly learned as a Vietnam vet and maybe growing up, in a rough neighborhood. So that's my analysis on Williams' fighting style. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. This is Elgin Subway Surfer Bowling, and this is why I hate Enter the Dragon. And let me say this one last thing. I hate, and it's been said before, and I'll say it again, I hate that his character was killed. What a waste.